All right, we got audio. Yes? No? Hold on. I'm throwing this onto another monitor for the time being. I can't work with one screen. This is just insanity. What was that screen? And that one. Yep, so we lost that source. All right. That's fine. Give me this HDMI. We will attempt to plug in here without unplugging anything else. So today, what you can kind of see is the top of the actual computer that normally does all the recordings and any live streams for any show of the 3 that I work on, or YouTube channels. So that monitor, okay, good. Now let me put chat up there. Don't duplicate it. Literally just extend it. Extend these displays, keep changes. Identify, so that's 1, that's 2. Let's put 1 and 2 above. Let's hit apply. Perfect. See, I had to set up from scratch on my laptop. And obviously, nothing else is going to work because everything that we normally do is on this little computer sitting here that you can see on the bench. Let's test out the other scene quick. And see what we can get into. Yes. So it's frozen. Let's unfreeze that. Unfreeze that back cam link that lost its link. Okay, now we got a live view of it. And then a partial view of the camera. Go. Okay, so there's that scene. There's that scene. Hello. Yeah, I should be. You don't have the cable. You don't have the required cable. Necessary part. This is all going to keep scrolling down. That's okay. We'll move this up here. All right. Let's get the mouse pad off of here. All right. Long story short, this is the computer. Are hands going in the same way? Yes, they are. Long story short, what's that one looking at? Is it stupid? This computer is basically the computer that I've done everything I've ever done for this channel with. It's a mini ITX form factor, and it's time to give it some upgrades. Long awaited upgrades. So let's crack into it and check out what actually runs this channel. I think I'm going to adjust that top camera. It's annoying as hell. If we can just get a slight... That's a little straighter. I'll link you that stuff. I don't have a link for it right now. I got to look it up. I will definitely link you to it. I think it's going to be a Y cable basically to join your front case panel, and your strimmer cables are a triple, actually. Where is it? It's going to be different cables but it's going to be something where you can plug 3 in, because there's 2 for the strimmer, 1 for your front panel, and then this, and then you're going to plug in something that goes to the other end of the 3-way splitter that converts over to IQ, so it'll all be addressable. Hopefully, that's the idea. Anyways, let me grab a drink here. And stuff, then it'll just be, yeah, it'll match it should match whatever you set with IQ. Got a guy out there typing on a keyboard. I suppose that's one way to do it. Grab this drink. Gotta mute this quick. Alright, and we're back. Need more and new RGB in my life. Not true. That's a myth. Alright, so rundown of the rig. Originally we started with a single stick of DDR4, 2133 megahertz, shit, 8 gig. We're at 16 gig now, and it's always been an Intel Pentium G4560. 7th gen Intel Pentium processor, and then look at that monster graphics card. That's just scary. Yeah, we're gonna ride. I'll try and ride and show you around. Look at this monster though. You see that? What does that even say right there? EVGA. GeForce GTX 1050 Ti. This thing will game the world. Oh, yeah, right. That card, I mean, it worked. It's done its job for what it is. I cannot kick on it for that. Let's throw some parts where I won't lose them. And work on small portion of upgrades. We got to clear a bunch of stuff out of the way. Yeah, right. That 38 can't even hold a candle to this 1050, dude. What's bigger, 10 or 3? Come on. 10, obviously. Alright, hard drive sled out of the way. We need a GPU out. I don't even know. Yeah, it's going to have to fit. Oh yes, we have room. Then we have to get out the PCI Express cables. A bunch of fun stuff we have to do to this thing. Alright, where are we at? What are we looking at? Trying to keep this in perspective here. Let's unplug this monster thing here first. Alright, GPU out. We got to unbundle the PCI Express cables. Take a look. Where did that card go? There it is. Is it a 1 or 2? It's a 1 8-pin is what we need for the card going into this thing. So we have just a bunch of 4+2s. And I think we may have to tuck this bundle of cables out of the way further yet. see how long this card is and where it's going to sit. It should just make it, but we can't just plug it right in to test it. Not that one. We need to leave this guy. Actually, maybe we don't. This is going to plug in right at the top. I think if we bundle it all up and just leave the little bit free, I think we survive it and make it. You're going to trade me? You trade me 3080 for a 1050? Not in your life, sir. 1050 is a monster. You know what? Funny story. Anybody out there? I couldn't get it to work. I tried for like 3 hours. Allegedly, they gave these an update to where you could play VR with them. I just couldn't get my VR headset when I got it to turn on with this 1050 at all. It was just, I'm like, you know what? I went home, did the same setup. It instantly kicked on the 1080. So, yeah, lesson learned. Even though they say I'll do it, I couldn't get it to happen. So, all right, there's one thing. So we've got to make some room. We've got to tear a fan out, and then we can start getting to work to see what we can actually cram into this thing. GPU off to the side. Let's pull this sled out as well. Man, that is such a shit place for a power supply, but it's all you got when you're dealing with mini ITX, I think. We got to get this guy out of the way. Yeah, I'm gonna fire up a game tonight too. Also, yeah, the 1080 is going in, but I have to convert it first. There ain't no room for water cooling in this thing. Okay. And here we go. Time for the risky bit. We're gonna throw. So we're adding a new GPU, which we have to convert from water cooling over to air because there's no room for the water cooler in this case. Doing a processor upgrade and then gonna add water cooling to the CPU because it's such a small unit that I think we can fit the water cooler on the CPU, but we even need to do some work with that. So we're gonna have to tear this whole motherboard out of here. There. We can't plug into that one. What do we have on that one? Purple and black. Purple and black. And then we have these two blank pins. The most nightmarish part of this whole entire build is that right there. Stupid front panel headers. I know that's going to be the guy. I know it. There's no possible way. Yeah, I gotta. Tell me how to pull that socket off the chip. Alright, we'll do it. We'll do it. What's that? That's AMD. That's what's already on it. That's shit. That's what we don't want. That's even stupider. That should be a rad kit with some thermal. What are those? I'm trying to find what's usable here. Well, I'm not going to put the controller on because we don't care about RGB with this thing, and even if so, I think it'll run off the, what's the board, 4-pin? Okay, that's that jumper. What do we have on here? Jumper LED 1, jumper LED 2, and I'd have to look at the manual to see what they are. They are the 4-pin, but the only RGB is on the pump. You're not going to see it inside a mini ITX case. We're not hooking it up. We're not playing around with that crap today. I was putting out a little heat. It was dried on there. Cool. All right, let's clean some of that crap up. We really, yeah, we do got to take the socket off of there. I believe we do, to put this back plate on. What fun times it will be. I'm not going to need the Intel LGA 2011, not us. Looks like it's for the rad. That's an AMD kit. So this is going to be our kit here. So these go, okay, those go on the pump. This is going to go on the back. Confused as to what these are, unless they're what lock that on, which I wouldn't trust that. That's shit if that's the case. Alright, we got to do a Google search. What is this thing? Core Master. Okay, 1366, 1150X. So we have to put the screw through, and then that thing will go in and latch at a certain point. 1150X is the middle one. That will hold it in the right spot. Awesome. So let's get this prepared and ready. Not that I think that's going to stay there, but what is this? Let's flip over so we can take a look at this thing. So this is the back plate that's going to go on the back side of the motherboard for the water cooler we're putting in. Basically, we have to drop these little screws in that have a retainer head so they don't spin. That goes on there, and then you lock this on for whatever socket you happen to be working with, which I have 1151, I believe is what socket the 7th gen is. 115, designated by 115X, but it's 1151 for that generation. Okay, so that's ready, that's part. And that's got to go through, and then what do we do? If it's that simple as drop the cooler on and lock it in place with the spin nuts, that's quite the feat. That's awesome. All right, so we're carefully, let's take a look here. We're carefully going to pull. Yeah, just a piece of thermal paste. It's not on a pin, but I don't like where it's at. Very carefully, we're going to pull the socket off of this board. Or the hold down mechanism, the holder. that holds the CPU down. Great. That hasn't dropped on the processor, so there's our back plate. I'm going to take and put this together right now so we don't lose any of this. And then take it and throw it in that box, that stupid MSI box that we've been holding on to for years. Guess I didn't think about the length of the install on this one, but it's not too bad. Alright, out of the way for now. Yeah, something tells me that diagram was slightly off. We're going out one. Much better fit. I like that. Okay. That's there. We need to find our CPU. So here's the trade up. If they don't shine everything to death. So we're going from an Intel Pentium G4560 over to an i7 7700K. Both 7th gen, but we're going from 2 cores, 4 threads to 4 cores, 8 threads, I believe. So a slight bump in performance. Should act a little more awesome. I'm going to find... Yeah. Get on there. No thermal paste on the bottom. Okay, we need to find the key and to set that in the socket. Gently, you don't ever want to bend your pins when you're you may be working on something. You don't want to scrape the corner of the CPU across everything and bend a bunch of pins upward. Once you set it in, slight wiggle, it should be in on all 4 corners. I'm not a pro, but I've done this at least once. We have camera evidence now. Alright, that's part of it. Now, let's pick this up and slide it out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then those. Now I know what those screws are for. Okay. So here's the water cooler. I picked it up. Second hand for next to nothing. Super awesome. Where are they showing them going? Underneath. And then the screws go through. Perfect. Okay, so the problem with this one is it has AMD mounting plates. What happened here? The problem with this one is it has the, how do I want to say it? AMD. It came with the AMD mounting system for AMD CPUs mounting on it. And I'm just like, that's just not going to do. I don't use AMD, not on this system. And I looked everywhere. I didn't want to have to buy another whole one of these units to get the mounting hardware. And I finally found what I needed to look up, which was the ML120L, ML240L Cooler Master accessory kit or toolbox. The ML120L, ML240L toolbox, I think is what they called it. And you get basically all your hardware for either AMD or Intel. Everything works, or works. Everything is bagged up in separate bags to where it needs to be, and easy to tell where it is. Sadly, I didn't get instructions with this or with the hardware kit, the toolbox thing that I had bought. So, seems fairly simple, and it is for the most part until you start looking at, well, I'll show you right here, these mounting, because you could go either way with it. And like that, I just took the screws out of the bottom of the water block here, and this would mount on there. But this mounting mechanism, it could also mount on the bottom side and send the screws through the top. So there's no actual obvious way to do it. But the plates do go underneath with the screws going through from the bottom instead of the screws coming through from the top. So we're switching this over to Intel, and then I need to find out, do these curve up and away or down? I think they're going to set down, but I'm not entirely certain. We're going to check real quick. Yes. So, when it's on the water block, let's see if we can take a look at this. This plate has a little bend in it. Okay. This plate has a little bend in it, and I don't know if you can see that little slight kink right there. It doesn't want to focus, but that needs to drop down. So it's going to mount to your water block and then kick downward and then bend back out. So here goes. Switching AMD over to Intel. Are you gonna grab, or are you just gonna play? There it goes. Okay. 1, 2. Yeah, I actually created a USB Bluetooth for this whole cooler, minus the accessory kit, and Hyper 212 Evo, if anybody remembers that old hardware. It's actually on my full-size computer that's out there. Let's take these out. Get rid of this other half of AMD. Bag that up shortly. Got the threads to grab. We'll spin it into place. Okay, Intel ready. I'm just going to clean carefully, thermal paste, and then really think about our orientation for this going on. I think to make it fit in my case. Instead of this being up and down, like so, it's not going to fit because it's going to hit the back I/O. Fairly certain we're going to have to turn it sideways, and hopefully it fits. If not, we're going back to air cooling for an i7 7700K. I think we're going to try and test fit in the case, so let me move this out of the way super quick, and we'll clean up some of the hardware here. Namely this. So yeah, anybody that needs some AMD kits for a Cooler Master water block, I've got 2 of them now that are completely useless. 2 full AMD kits. Useless. These over in the good pile. G4560. We'll throw this 7th gen Pentium G4560. And building a new computer at the time, 2017, I think, when I built this was a pretty logical choice. When Intel put this out, this was a $60 processor. So you're getting a dual core with hyper-threading. So 2 cores, 4 threads for $60. And they held up pretty good, fairly decent, actually, over the years. But end of an era. We're given a little bit of a speed bump for our streaming rig, and then soon I hope to be building a new home system to play games with some of my friends out there. All right, let's test fit in the case and see what this situation is going to turn into. Got a little dust, we could airline that out, and I'm thinking I'm honestly thinking none of this shit's gonna work, but I think what we can do is go sideways, like so. And it should keep us clear enough from the GPU. So that's one option. So we mount that in place, or get that mounted in, and hopefully have enough room below. It's gonna be about there. Hopefully there's enough room below this edge of the rad for the I/O of the motherboard. There should be, but I know one thing, it's longer one way than the other, so we're definitely not mounting it that way. It's going to have to go sideways. But which sideways? I guess that depends which one of these is in and out. And if we go the other way, let's throw this down in here carefully and take a look and see how close does the top of that rad get to the graphics card location. It'll probably still fit. Fan wires up. Don't know that I'm a fan of that. So we will go fan wires down. What do they got for screws in there? So for the time being, we're just putting 2 diagonals in case we got to pull this back out, because I have a very distinct feeling that we're going to be lifting this back out of here to get the motherboard in place. Maybe not, but we shall see. So with that there, it's going to be a tight fit, especially under the hard drive cages and then on top of the CPU, but our air will be exhausting out. Hopefully it all works. This is a tiny case. and there's not a lot of room, but super attached to the case. Love this case, so we're keeping it for the time being. Let's get our other 2 wires, one of which is, oh yeah, we're definitely gonna have to get into that splitter because I only have 2 fan ports on the board. Or will I? Is the fan? Oh, no. Nope, wrong. What's that part? I really don't see this going down in here with any type of ease. But let's give it hell and see what happens. It's far enough away from our M.2 drives. So I realize there's no thermal paste yet. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set this on here just to hold that processor in place. You know what? Let me actually look at that. Tell me I have to turn this thing even further to get away from those capacitors. I think we do. So we're going to have that locked in there like that to miss those capacitors. If it will even fit. I don't think it will. I don't know. Let's see. We're going to get some tension down on it. To hold everything in place for the time being. Okay, so now we can literally go either way. It is up. I'm looking, we're making contact with the processor. It's down in the socket 100%, so we can turn that any which way we want. That's good. I feel a lot better about that. We think we can. What is this crap? Master Gel, thermal compound, Kohler Master. Never heard of it. We're not going to use it. We're going to throw some MX4 on here. Not moving. Probably because there's nothing to move yet. Okay. Okay, so right now I'm just using a wire tie to tie the RGB header and the fan header up out of the way. I just want to put some thermal paste on, lock this onto the board, and then worry about getting the board down in. If we have to unscrew the rad, that's fine. With this tied on, I have no problem. Then we'll try and fit that in later. But I think, actually, let's do it the other way around. Let's pull the rad out now and then lock this together and then work on getting it in. I think the clearances are going to make it. Okay, so that's the back. The motherboard or plate just came out. That's going to be the back, and the logo goes bottom toward the back. Got it. Hopefully everybody else has that out there. Remind me. Excuse me. Remind me to do it in that order. That's why I don't have faith in goofy little mounting clips. The MX. All right. As always, the perfect amount of thermal paste. You cannot argue or deny it. Measuring this with my eyeballs. They're like lasers. Laser. What is that? Calipers? Digital calipers. One, two, three. We need number 4. And there he is. Okay, so we're going to crank down finger tight. I don't know if this is an instance you go till it bottoms out. We could read, but no, it actually bottoms out without getting well beyond finger tight. Like it stops. They all stop turning. Perfect. Okay. So one in. So we have two 4-pin PWM fan headers, but we only have 3-pin and a 4. That's a 4-pin, and our pump is a 3. So I'm also curious here. Okay, so still have the motherboard box, manual. Let's take a quick look and see what is going on with the headers. See if they explain the RGB header on these. This does have, is this supported? Is this a supported thing? Let's look at the back. So it's an MSI board, so that should be MSI Mystic Light. It's an early model, and I don't see their logo on it stating so anywhere, but it does have VR ready, even back then. B250 chipset, so it's a pretty shit. It's okay. So pin 1 is 12 volt, 2 not connected, 3 signal, 4 not. So it's 2 wires? Get out of here. So the arrow is just... So 50/50 single color LED strips. But they are the 12 volt ones. And what about jumper LED 2? Doesn't say shit about jumper LED 2 right here. Same pin outs, the same thing. We're not even going to bother hooking it up. I believe this is a 12 volt system, but we're not going to risk cooking the motherboard just to find out something dumb that, oh boy, it doesn't work after all. So CPU fan and system fan. The pump is going to go to the CPU fan. And then our back fan will go to system fan. Not a whole lot in an ITX case. That's what I like about it. Not the space limitations, but that they don't take up much space at all. Alright, so wires I'm not going to be using or not needing super long tidied up. Sitting freely. Now, is it going to fit in the damn case? So that's super cool. They had that, included that. Kohler Master, awesome, you included that, but we don't need it in this instance. We're not running buku fans in this thing. This is going to be the torturous part, getting all this shit out of the way without removing the power supply. I hate it, but necessary. It seems like there's always one cable that wants to get on the wrong side of a standoff, so you gotta pick stuff up, move it around, keep messing with it. Maybe that's out, that's out. Let's see. Is everything out of the way? It would appear so. Let's attach the motherboard. Screw it back down. Without any of those tight. Where are they tight? Right where it needs to be. Okay, time to start working on the answer. We're going to have to put this in and pull it back out. I said wires down. Not there. We'll sort the rest later. That is going to work awesome. I like the fitment on that. That is really going to work. So we can put that in, but before we do, we have much other stuff to do. Much stuff. We got to connect our single 8-pin, or a single 4-pin, our EDP connector, our 12-volt rail, whatever you want to call it. It needs connected in this instant. We have a stupid front panel audio cable that we rarely use, but we're still going to hook it up. And then tuck the leftover tail under the GPU, and then we've got to run this up beside it. This is a front panel USB. That's a hell of a spot for it between the back panel USB, Ethernet, and USB 3 and HDMI connectors. Just kind of like, yeah, because we can, we'll park this here. Stupid thanks. Okay, now the big thing. Take that out. Yeah, I know these run on 12, it's like 12 volt 50/50, but I just am not certain this board's compatible. If it is, I can plug them in later. Like I said, it's a mini ITX case. So do we really need to have RGB running inside a case we're never going to see? No. We'll save some power while we're at it on those not so powerful LED lights. That was it? Yes, that was. Perfect. Okay. Let's bend this around and put one screw in. I have a lot going on in this case. It's okay. As long as everything runs cool, has good ventilation, I think we'll be okay. Let's get this up, out of our way. We're literally, I don't even know what to do right here, other than I think we're just going to loop it on itself and put one zip tie in the middle for now. I think we can leave the other loop, that'll be fine. We need to get these out of our way as much as possible and start reconnecting some of the other stuff in the bottom of this case. Namely, let's take a look at it. So we have all of our SATA ports that need connected except one. USB 3, which we'll keep out of our way. SATA 2, okay, SATA 1 has to stay empty because of the M.2 NVMe drive on the bottom side of the motherboard. I don't know if anybody saw that while it was there. Blue, black, purple, black, and brown, black. we have to move it? No, that hit the spot dead on. Nice. I like when stuff works out. It's a good thing when it works out. It matches our map, so brown, black, purple, black, blue, black with the 2 pins here. Perfect. That means everything's going to turn back on when we hit our switch. Always good to know. We're going to have to ratchet that back out of the way somehow for it. Maybe like that for our GPU. We'll tie it to... there's nothing there. Tie it to the air. Now we have to organize our 24 plus 1, or 20 pin plus 20 plus 4 pin. Get that sorted. USB 3. That's for a GPU. What's that? It's Molex. What is that? What is that going to? What is that powering? The light bar on the front. Okay, I got it. GPU. Literally gonna have to get stuffed in there. That's what we're doing in this instance, I think. Alright, so we're just about ready. The hard drive sled, without a doubt, is going to fit, and we will be able to plug in our hard drives there again as well. It goes in the front, just to make sure this fits past our pump and that these are going to get out of our way enough. We will set it down, and they do. I think we can get away possibly with putting one back. Is that a thing? Can we do a thing? Yeah, I don't know that I like that back by the fan, so I think perhaps we bend them forward and definitely get them out of the way. That, I can live with that. That's not the only choice, but it's a good choice. All right, let's attach our fan on the bottom portion. Everything is connected in. So go ahead and put 2 screws on our fan, or a rad that holds the fan, I suppose. Alright, and next comes the big job. We still cannot put this thing back together yet, and the graphics card that I was showing a little bit of is not the card that's intended for this, but we bought that card to do something else with it. Not quite sure what yet, but we've got some work to do. We don't want to confuse stuff, so let's bag it back up and get it out of the way. Okay, quite simple. No lighting. Nothing ventured on that one. Nothing lost. Nothing gained, but hey. Good day. Where did our hardware kit go? Right here. We're going to throw everything back in the bag to keep it together. We don't need either of the silly AMD mounting kits. I don't think we'll be getting into you either. Alright, time for the actual work. This is the pain in the ass part of this job. Not really, honestly, not really. So here we have my GTX 1080. It's not a Ti, just a regular 1080. We got to unmount that. Sucks. I forgot all about all those little guys. That's okay. So we have to unmount it from the water cooler. And before I pull all those little, whatever you want to call them, off, little heat sinks that are stuck down, we're going to confirm that the case fits, not just we think it fits. Those things are a nightmare to put back on. You'll see what I'm talking about as soon as I remove this. I think you could use a silicone pads and cut a bunch to stick them, but I know it's a real thin, real fine. Turn that to get it out of there. Okay, so there goes the radiator. These two fans are moving over to the radiator that's going into my new system. I'm going to water cool a 2080 Ti to put into my home computer build, but we'll save those fans for then. It's NZXT Kraken G12, nice kit. Sadly, I don't think I have the rest of the mounting stuff again for it, so I'm not going to try and find a hardware kit for that. We're just going to take this stuff off. I think you can make one of these work, just for as a little side note. I think you can make the Kraken G12 work to install on like the Founders Edition and reference style 2080 Ti cards with the AMD kit. I think you need the AMD graphics cards mounting portion here, and that will line up with your NVIDIA 2080 Ti reference style card. If I'm not mistaken, I could be very mistaken on that. But see all these little heat sinks? All these. Before I tear all those off, we're confirming that this air cooler is going to fit. Okay, so there's our 1080. This is going into the mini ITX build, but we don't have room for all of this. So that's the whole why we need to do the drastic measures that we're doing here, sort of thing. Hang on a minute. Tell me they're not in the same spot. Ones are a little further out. Tell me that fits a 2080 if you flip it over. How badass would that be? Z? Nope, they don't have alternate markings. Probably not. So What am I doing? We don't need to do this. We will. I don't think we're going to get into the last portion of this today, but we can at least talk about it for anybody that watches, is watching or watches in the future. We'll at least talk about what's going on with this. This whole get up here is getting moved over to another graphics card, and then we're going to figure out what to do with it. All right. Water cooler completely off of the 1080. However, we still have another step to perform, and here it is. We got to strip this guy down. This should actually be almost identical with where the screw holes are, and they just about are. So we have, this is a turbo GTX 1060, and we have a turbo GTX 1080. To fit the 1080 in my mini ITX system, we've got to strip all these little things off. Before we do that and clean it up, we need to make sure that this air cooler is going to fit. So let's get to work. It appears as though we have a bunch of screws to strip off. All right, let's find out what did we do wrong? What are we missing? Do we have to undo the back plate? We shouldn't have to get the housing away from the card, unless I'm missing something here, which I very well could be. I think it just doesn't want to come apart easily. There it goes. And then we have our fan wire. Come on, disconnect from the damn PCB. Stupid fan. Holy shit, it's gonna rip the wires right out of the socket. I hate these fan connectors. I absolutely hate them. Lock in there like that. Okay, so bit of a difference. Get out of there. Namely, with we need to get that little pad back. And those two. But it would appear that just about everything is in the same spot with the row of components here, and then this other row of components are capacitors. Would fit in this hollowed out portion, then these ones. And this one would fit that one. Our fan goes in there, which is awesome. The heatsink portion and our thermal pads, and then we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so let's reclaim some thermal pads quick. Put them back on our card, or on our housing, or our heatsink. It don't have to be perfect, it's just going down. These don't look too dirty or degraded or squashed excessively bad, so we're going right back on. There. Perfect. Okay, what else? Oh, we got to pull all those little guys off. So, yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. And then these ones, I think, we're literally up here doing nothing, just touching a physical spot. So we have a friend that climbed in there and got stuck on one of the thermal pads. That little spider. What are you trying to do? Short stuff out, my friend? You can't do that. People enjoy their electronics. Quit climbing inside them. Where did you come from, Card? A mining rig where there was lots of heat? Okay, so let's see. I wonder if we can just pick these right up. Pop it off and just squash it right back onto the 1060. Probably a big no, but because I don't have any more of that thin of a head to re-stick these. There is some tack to them, but for the most part, they're not gonna stay in place. We might be able to hit them with a heat gun and get them to really adhere down. I doubt it. I think we're going to order a kit and do... Shit, what did I even have the whole set of them going across the back here? Damn. Yeah, so they went with completely different MOSFETs. There. There. We could put one there. And then that frees up one for I don't know where. We don't really have anywhere. Maybe up here. Who knows? Alright. Looks good. We need to clean off our 1080. Let's get our other two little chips off. We'll just put them there for reference sake. I'm going to take an airline to this quickly, so I'm going to mute and run the airline over this to blow some. We'll clean that first and then hit it with the airline. It's actually not bad. I don't think, no, we don't even need to do that. Just possibly a swab with some IPA on each of the chips quick and clean the center. So, end goal, we're going to throw all the water cooling stuff that just came off of this GTX 1080 onto this 1060 and then figure out something to do with it. But it's not going to be up to me. I'm going to leave it up to commenters what the hell we do with that card. So, if you're catching this, you're watching this, you made it this far in, let me know. What do we do with this old turbo GTX 1060 that we're going to throw water cooling on? It's not going to have the IQ fans. It's going to have some plain black non-RGB fans. But it is going to be a water-cooled 1060, so we have to, it's a shame to have to water-cool this 1080, but yeah. Is what it is at this point, man. We got to clean that off, and we should be good to go. That stuff was about done. I just basically pulled it off, but you can tell it is done by how it clumps and folds. I mean, there's still some tack to it, but for the most part, it's cooked. We'll clean that off. We're gonna get that with a swab quick. Actually, where is it? Where's the magic red brush? And lastly, where's that little brush? All right, let's go over our VRAM chips real quick and call it good to put the thermal compound on and install. Does not look too bad. Get that one more time in the center, and then the heat spreader part of our Kohler. All right, we need a fairly big blob thermal compound on this thing. Actually, before we do anything, let's test the fitment of our capacitors and whatnot. I did say we were going to do that. The vital part, the fan will plug in, so shove that down in there for now. Everything up here, without sticking it together, it looks like all screw holes are going to match up. And just to show you the drastic difference that I was dealing with trying to find one of these, you can find the housing in the fan, but you can't find this inner plate, the inner plate, and then the heat spreader part with the fin stack. You can't find any of that. We actually probably should blow that out quick too while we're at it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to mute and airline it. But here's how drastically different, okay, these Kohlers look. And I mean, to an extent, they're similar, but a lot of the screw holes were not matching up. Like from side to side, these are almost evenly spaced. These ones are close together where this one's further apart. The same here where these are more even. Side to side, these are different. This would have matched up on both. This would have matched up on both. This and this, but nothing from there over. And I don't think these matched up. Possibly they did, but yeah. So there you're talking. And also the cutouts for capacitors. That was another major thing. Getting everything. So the card, like you can see here, we'll just stick this together just for fun to show you. So we can't actually line up. These holes will line up once this would set down, but this won't set down because of the capacitors being back there in the back. Like it's just, yeah, nightmare. So MSI will not fit, but same brand generally fits. All right, muting for a sec. We're going to airline the card quick and the heatsink fins inside. Ah, got on mute, dummy, after the airline. So, getting it back together. I was just saying that it's sad that the water cooling is leaving because it ran with such a good temperature. It's going to get a little warmer now going back to air cooling, but necessary evil to fit it in the case I want to fit it into. So, there were none there. And I think, hope, because I've never went backwards like this. Never had the need to, but in this instance, well-deserved upgrade for the streaming / recording rig. So. Alright, fair enough. Now, is it going to fit without smashing wires out of the way all crazy? I think that's just going to be part of a necessary evil as well, smashing them wires to some other destination in the case. I know that can't be where it is. That's going to be a major problem. That's stupid. Molex cable. There's another one there. The rest of it should fit. The card would stick up. Press that back. Hopefully it stays out of our way. Okay, so that went in without trouble. All those wires aren't doing too much to the card, flexing it wise. I'm going to get that out of the way. And finally, I think we will go the route of, well, it's either 6 plus 2 or 6 plus 2. 6 pin plus 2 or 6 pin plus 2. So we'll pick the 6 plus 2. Okay, we're getting toward the finish line on this construction project. Let's see if we can still squash our sled that we don't use in there. There, correct? Yes. I believe, yes, that goes there. Okay, and then hard drives. This is going to be the big thing here. Those will connect. And then our power cables. Okay. Don't like that resting up against. Well, I guess. Yeah. We're going to pop a zip tie in there to keep that down away from cables and other things. Let's pull this up out, move it out of the way. I'm not even going to pull it tight to pinch it off or anything like that. We're just going to pull it down slightly. I don't know what zip tying two of these hoses that have like the sleeving over them like that, what that will do to it. I know it's I don't even think that's going to do part of what I thought it was, but we will see. The only contact is on SATA power to the one line for the cooler. Quickly go over the connections to see that we have them. We have our front panel, 20+4 pin EDP connector. The pump fan header and the pump header are both plugged in. All three SATA cables, M.2 drives in USB 3, front side USB, audio. I think that's it. And our hard drives. And the 6+2 pin for the graphics card. Now, can we get a post test? How are we going to post this? I don't need to flash it on the screen. We'll just go simple mouse keyboard. And an HDMI cable. Seems like a simple solution. So we're going to need, what do we need? Power? So we have mouse, keyboard, power. We don't need well, probably Wi-Fi and HDMI, which I believe at this point we have none left. We've stolen them all for the KVM that we set up on a video yesterday. Nope. We got one. Awesome. Okay, and let's go to our card. We'll go to one of the HDMI ports. We're going to send this over to our HDMI switch, which we're out of room. The last port being taken right now. 1, 2, 3, so that would be 4. Hit power, and let's see if this thing will post. I could potentially feed it into the cam link. CPU or memory change, please enter setup to configure your system. F1 to run setup. Certainly. F1. Oh, we're already there. Okay. How do we do this? And how we can do it. Maybe. Okay, if that didn't kill the whole stream, I don't know what will. Let's flip over to that scene. Frozen. Something has to be, because that's not at all what we're sending it. Ah, we're in BIOS, that's why. Okay. And let's get into the BIOS. Escape. We're gonna exit. No. Okay, so we're doing a quick reboot. Oh, it is froze. Okay, so it is froze. Let's re-enable the back cam link. That's the one that locked up. There you go, an MSI screen. Haha, it's flipped over. Alright, what is this nonsense? So what happens? We'll go back over there for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And we're back up. Let's we have Control Shift Escape. Go to our Performance tab. So it is seeing it. I don't know. I guess the drivers will be all right. We could uninstall, reinstall. GPU 39 Celsius. That's got to be cooking hot. It's not even doing anything, but the fan is spinning. And I think this is in a recent update. This was a change they made, was taking and, how do I want to say it? Putting the temperature monitor for your GPU in there. I never used this, so little that there we go. Okay, GTX 1080. Oh, you can't really see that. No, we can, right? All right, nice. Our resolution is shit right now, but you know, it's working. I think a success so far. I don't know how. We need to do some monitoring on the CPU and the GPU to make sure, you know, that everything's working. I'm going to say that the CPU seems to be working. Let's get a drive quick. We'll plug in a drive. I know we can do this much quick and easy without worry, if I can find it. Aha! I knew you were under a box. I just didn't know which box. All right, so we're plugging in an external drive quick here. Okay, and we find the tools and Intel. Let's see what happens here. Yes. Okay, so download and install that feature. And we have no internet, so let's give it some internet quick. So it can get, what is that? Microsoft 3.5. I should do that one click. Go back. This is going to be a nightmare waiting on this. But it's going to go. So, and this is only one half the equation. Only one half of the equation here. This I had to pull this 1080 out of my home computer, like the computer at home that I use to game and do editing whenever I edit any of these videos, or happen to do the rare live stream from home or edit the podcast. So that system is down. But I think I'm just gonna install the 2080 Ti air cooled for now and worry about water cooling later. I don't know, I'm not sure. I could just throw that 1050 in and see how sad it is. I don't know. Leave me some thoughts on the matter. Which one should we throw into the computer? Do we throw in that or this? Good God, that thing is tiny compared to that other one. All BS aside, I mean, look at that. That's just stupidly small. But I can't kick on this card. It was a solid performer for what I needed it to do in this shop. And that's record every repair, live stream, and record a bunch of other stuff. This 1050 Ti was a champ. So, yeah, I cannot kick on it. It worked, but I think it's time for something a little newer in the home computer. I may throw this in there just as a gag, just to see what it does. We could water cool this maybe, if it'll fit. Put that water cooler on there. It'd be a monster. Heavy duty 1050. Yeah, just getting the 1080 in here, water cooling the i7 7700K. That was just the first little part. Now we got to finish the home computer. So where did it go? Hit close. Let's try it again. And let's heat this monster up. Start. Do what you do. Alright, so we're just running a real quick Intel burn test. It's not the end-all be-all. There's many ways to test your computer, but if our pump's not working, well, I don't think I have CPU-Z, do I? What I was really interested in is this. What is that bogus driver that's been there? Or is it just the same driver for the 1050 Ti and 1080? I don't know. I don't see CPU-Z anywhere, so okay, so some warmer air is coming off from the fan through the radiator. Not bad. I'm going to assume the pump is working. Let's carefully move these hard drives. They're mechanical. I don't want to bang them around on anything. Yeah, the pump's in there working, so everything's good to go on that matter. As long as the graphics card stays cool, I am good with it. Success, your system was able to maintain its stability on that super short test that we ran. 33, so it looks like the temperature stabilized a little. Will probably go up once we slide the outer case on. I'm almost guessing 100% that it will. Let's get rid of some of this shit. That is where that other fan went. Now I know. I've been looking for that for years. Just as a goof, before I end this, I'm going to throw the side panel on to see what's up. See what is it gonna. That is nice. It has a nice clean. Well, the case is dirty, but it has a nice spot for air to go in right where the GPU is pulling air. So they plan for bigger cards. We have just full ventilation right here, right by where that fan is. So it can blow stuff right out the back. That nasty, nasty hot air. I can also say that if this case wasn't special computer case, that I'm more than like if I didn't like it as much as I do, I more than likely would have just did the whole goof of get in there. Finding a way to mount the radiator, cutting holes in the side, mounting the radiator, and letting the fans blow. For the 1080 with water cooling, still attached right on GPU side here. We just had a field day and popped the radiator right on there. That'd have been great. Let's flip that over there. Quick. Not bad, I'm gonna say. Let's check our CPU temp real quick. Okay, so it might have come up a little. It was what, 31, 33. I don't think we're going to see any drastic difference till we start doing something demanding. I don't really want to fire a game up or anything right now. I don't think I really have any installed on here. I'm not going to do remote play, but awesome. Where's the CPU at? That's what I want to see. Four cores, 8 threads, virtualization enabled, 8 megs. Very nice. Utilization 1%. Fire up OBS. Very nice. Okay. Had a little spike there on our chart. Not bad. To fire that up. I'm going to call it a success for now. We'll see. Can I still continue to do what I do with this thing? Who knows? We'll find out in the coming days, weeks, months. I hope to keep using it as is. No, hey, we'll switch it back and we'll find another solution, another path forward. I'm going to shut this down and also get ready to get off here, get done with the stream. If this is the stuff that you're into, the tinkering, messing, doing, repairing, upgrading, attempting to repair, even attempting to upgrade. I've had some people attempt to upgrade and get lost with it. If you know how to do that stuff and somebody needs a hand, get it done for them. Make their device awesome. Make it better than it was in the past for them if possible. If it's for example, if it's a laptop, and it's just a laptop with an old shit mechanical hard drive in, see if you can't max out their RAM, put an SSD in that thing, and give it that new life if you happen to be working on it, Give it that little bit of boost, that life after life or whatever for, a lot of computers. If I understand Windows right, a lot of Windows 7, Windows 8 machines are going to be phased out with the way they're activating or handling activation key codes, whatnot on Windows 11. But hey, in the meantime, yeah, give somebody a hand, fix their stuff if you know how, if you're into it, attempting to repair. Don't give up. Show your successes, show your failures. I try to do both here. My name's Nick. I do this stuff often, not the live streams, it's more recorded. If you haven't subscribed already, think about subscribing, ring that bell, and we will see you in the next video. Probably concerning this, but not what you're thinking. So cut down on the scrap heap, the landfill, preserve this awesome island earth that we all use all this crap on together. See you next time, people. As always, thank you. Thank you so much for clicking the link and hanging out. We'll see you then.